everybody, welcome to the Homestead. You know, we get a lot of comments sometimes on our channel and through our website, Facebook, Twitter, all the social media platforms that we share the things that we do on this homestead with, and people comment. A lot of times some of the comments are kind of mean, and they just I don't understand why you live this way, and why would anyone want to do what you do. And that really perplexes me, and it perplexes us sometimes, because some of you need to realize that some of the modern conveniences that you guys enjoy and that we all enjoy have only been around just fairly recently. They were invented fairly recently. Refrigeration is one of those things that people just recently, in the last 50, 60 years, have really enjoyed in our culture, in our society, in the country that we live in. And so what did people do before refrigeration? Well, what I'm doing today is I'm out in the greenhouse and I'm getting ready for the fall season. We're pulling a lot of the plants up that we've been growing all summer long. Some of this basil is about done. We've gotten about 2 or 3 harvest just from this patch of basil here. Planting cabbages and all kinds of spinach, winter spinach, and some red Russian kale, which is one of our favorites here in the homestead. And so I'm getting stuff ready for winter in here. There's a lot of things that we're going to be growing, and one of the things I'm harvesting a lot of is celery. It's amazing that celery is one of those things that you can use to preserve meat. And how did people do that? Well, see, we don't know, because we are so disconnected from the ways of our grandparents and ancestors that we had no idea that celery could be used to preserve meat. And so we have a smokehouse. It's just about finished, and we've been constructing this. Tim has been working really hard at building this smokehouse, and we are going to be preserving the majority of the meat that we harvest this winter and process this winter in that smokehouse. And one of the ways that our ancestors figured out you can preserve meat is with salt combined with plants that produce nitrates. Those nitrates over time convert into nitrites, and they help preserve the color of the meat, and they also prevent the harmful bacteria that is sometimes resistant to the salt from contaminating your meat. And so things like celery, arugula, different plants like asparagus, things like that, they can really produce a lot of nitrates when ground up into a powder, a dried powder, that when combined with salt will do an excellent job of preserving your meat. And so one of the reasons we are growing celery and harvesting a lot of celery is so that we can keep it, preserve it, and use it for meat preservation this winter. And so let's go ahead and take a look. Okay, so here's a batch of celery right here, and basically some of it's starting to dry out, but that's okay. I'm just going to pull this up and look at some of the root structure in here. I hope you can see this. There we go. Look at that. A whole bunch of celery that we're going to use to dry in our solar dehydrator, and use the powder that we grind up to go into our meat production salt that we're going to be using for preserving our meat. And so there's just a ton of celery here. It's been growing all season long. It's not like the big stalks of celery you might find in your local supermarket, but it'll work absolutely fine. This is going to contain a lot of nitrates in the stalks and in the leaves. We're going to be able to use all of this. Some of it for food. I'm going to dry a lot of this, a lot of little chunks. Look at the root structure on that. And we're going to be able to use a lot of this for soups and things like that. So good amount of celery there. We're going to be using all of that for food production or meat preservation in the smokehouse this year. So there you go. Look at that, all that celery. An amazing amount of celery, all grown here in the aquaponics system. This celery is going to be used for 2 applications here on the homestead. The first one, it's going to be divided up, cut up, and dried and used in soups during the winter. We love soups. Jamie loves to prepare soups during the winter time, and so we'll save some of this and dry it out to be put into soups later on to add flavoring, great flavor for soups this winter. And the second thing we're going to use this for in the wintertime is to dry it out in our solar dehydrator, grind it up into a powder, and then mix it with the salt that we're going to use to preserve our meat that will be placed into the smokehouse for preservation. And so celery is a great source of nitrates that later then inside the meat can convert over to nitrites, and that is a meat preservative. It's a meat preservative. So instead of using all these chemicals that you can find online for meat preservation and preserving your own meat, we're actually using what people who the ancients were back in the old days. They figured out that some plants contain an enormous amount of nitrates and that convert into nitrites, and that preserves color. It helps in aid of preservation and keeping harmful bacteria down in your meat, and is an awesome, great preservative that you can use in your meat for long-term storage. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to use this celery, a part of the celery, to preserve our meat for the winter. And we're really looking forward to being able to do that. And we're providing all of our own stuff here right on the homestead. We're not going out and buying harmful chemicals and stuff like that. No, we're using the stuff that we grow right here on the homestead for that meat preservation. We're going to do a whole video on just the smokehouse and that whole process when it comes time to do that. Deer season is in full swing. We've already harvested one deer. We're going to be harvesting more deer. And so we're going to take some of that deer meat and using it in the smokehouse. And we'll do a whole video on that and how we're doing it, along with the celery and the salt that we're going to use to preserve that meat. So I hope you'll subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and come back and watch those videos. I think they'll be very informative. Guys, we need to learn how our ancients, how the people who came before us learned how to do things, how they preserved meat, how they provided food for themselves. The state of our world is kind of crazy right now. You may need to learn these things at some point down the road. Don't just rely on the modern conveniences of everyday American life thinking that they're going to be here forever. They may not. And so people who ridicule us and who come down on us sometimes kind of hard for living the way we do, guys, this is hard work, living the way we do. But it's really, really rewarding. And so we really get a lot out of this, and I think you do too. A lot of our audience really appreciates the videos that we put out. So thank you for that. I hope you enjoy them. All right, we'll see you next time on American Homestead. If you enjoyed this video, please click the thumbs up button below the video. It really makes creating these videos worthwhile. If you want to make sure to never miss a new video, be sure to click the subscribe button. Now you can get your homesteading questions answered. Visit us at our contact page on anamericanhomestead.com and send us your questions. Maybe we'll pick your question for a future video or article on our website.